Hello and welcome to the Big Bang Theory podcast, episode 3. I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello.
So Dan, we're here to talk about City's 1-0 loss at home against Bury FC.
Yeah, I mean, amongst other things, but yeah.
Well, it was a bit of a depressing game in a sense, I felt.
Yeah, it was a bit. More for the sort of things that it revealed.
Do you think so?
The broader picture. Yeah, I think so. I think we had a couple of kind of good weekends, haven't we, where we've sort of flattered to deceive a bit.
Was this City's Solskjaer moment?
It could have been, yeah.
Pogba's there, he's on his Instagram, everything's going well, he's doing a weird dance, and then some real footballers turn up.
I don't think it's quite like that.
No, it's not, is it? That's really harsh. I mean, I thought the first half City were excellent. I thought we were pinned them back, all over them. Holmes and Law and Sweeney even were having lots of good possession. But we didn't get anything.
Yeah. I mean, this sounds obvious, doesn't it? But I think we're good all over the pitch. We just haven't got any... We just can't score goals, can we? We haven't got that... The final ball or whatever.
Wow.
Is it there? I don't know.
Well, it seems like they've previously worked out how to score, but we haven't worked out a multitude of ways to score.
Yeah, and I think also if you're relying on those kind of ways to get goals, as in goals from your midfielders, then you're in trouble in League Two. Because, yeah, that might go... If you're all over someone and you're playing a weaker team than you, who maybe have don't have a well-organised defence, or, you know, someone on having a bad day even, yeah, you might get away with it. You can get away with it, but like against MK,
yeah,
a team out of sorts, and we can. But coming up against someone like Bury, who looks so well organised. I mean, I was really impressed with them actually. I mean, they're really good.
Well, you can see why they're challenging.
Yeah,
can't you?
And it's without being a really very kind of like interesting or. You know, there's not a lot of flair in that team. It's just they're solid.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. It's kind of what we aspire to be, and kind of what we were under Stockley, I suppose.
They're not massively different to us. It's just that thing of when they were running at us, those two, you know, wine gums is Nicky Maynard, and I don't know, the other guy. When they were like, and you know, all of their forwards, when they were kind of running at us, it looked dangerous, and that's the thing that maybe we haven't got.
Well, we looked really solid and safe in possession. Like, there was some action, particularly in the first half, where they couldn't get it off us.
Yeah.
But we don't want to cross it. And, you know, you see...
That was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you see Randall Williams' luscious locks, and when he's got the wind in his hair, and when he's off down
his
the
hair.
line...
You can say hair.
His hair.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I was, you know...
Lovely hair.
I don't know if his hair enables his running or disables his running, but nevertheless, it's a feature of his running.
I reckon Olympic sprinters would say it was a hindrance.
I think My Little Pony would say it was an absolute excellent accessory.
And somewhere between those two is the perfect place to be for Randall. Is it Randall?
I've been saying Randall, but that's just, I'm a Devonoid.
Randall.
Randall. It's like when, you know, your name's Death or something and you have to call it Diath.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Randall's perfectly acceptable.
Do you reckon that's what...
Embrace it. Maybe you don't want to be called Randy.
Yeah, maybe. If my name was Randall, I'd go Randy. Every time. Randy Williams.
You'd go Randy.
That's
you
like
heard it here first.
Name ever. Randy Williams. I'm just calling him that now.
Fine. Well, him anyway.
Whether he likes it or not.
Off he sets, you know, hair ablaze, feet are galloping, and you think this is going somewhere. And then he obviously... Well, he does cross on occasion, but it never makes it past the first or second defender. It's not a beautifully lofted ball.
No.
And Bowman's breaking a gut, busting a leg to get there.
Not.
And and then it never comes to him. And so I think because we had a text exchange, didn't we, that was around the subject of El Bowman, and I think actually he's doing everything he can, but what he probably needs is a ball in the air 2 feet in front of him that he will absolutely crash down upon. And
he got his head on a couple, didn't he? The couple that did come in, he did get his head on. Yeah, I mean, it was weird.
I don't think
wasn't
the
it,
ball's
because
been right for him yet.
you were in the
Yeah, we were sat in the
Adam
Stansfield. Yeah.
So you were down there, and you were down that end. So first half, I remember thinking, end of the first half, he hasn't done much. He hasn't, like. And then we spoke, didn't we? And you were like, no, he's doing everything he can. And then in the second half, I kind of realised when you could see it up close when we were facing the big bank, I was like, yeah, he is actually. And but the problem is that there's no support. There's no support.
No.
And I know that this week is down to like a few things, mainly injuries. Lee Martin would have played if he was fit.
Yeah.
And maybe even Fort would have played with Bowman if he was fit too. But there was without that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how that system's ever really going to work because he had no one to get the ball to.
Here's a reading of the situation. I think he's better than Stockley at holding it up. I think he made a real nuisance for himself. I think
bold claim.
And maybe it is, but he really looked like he knew what he was doing. Created lots of time just from taking it in the right way.
Yeah,
but
he's got that weird sort of timing of his jumping a bit.
But it kind of works.
Yeah, it's the early jump.
It's the early jump. I guess the defenders don't know what to do with it. Anyway, I guess Randy Williams can't really cross it or isn't confident in crossing it.
Although he did have one really good one. I remember there being one
very
good cross.
So maybe it's confidence.
From the right-hand side. Yeah. And maybe it's also experience and just playing more. He's not played a huge amount, has he?
No, he hasn't. But then you've got Law and you've got Holmes, who we know can cross it.
Yeah.
And they seem reluctant.
Keen.
No, they didn't.
No, but then we're not exactly. I know Bowman's in there, but it's kind of just him, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So they're probably, and we have had success from scoring from those kind of positions.
Yeah, I guess so.
The edge of the box, so if you can give the impression you're going to cross it and then have a shot from the edge of the box, whoever it is, Law, Holmes, Collins, Taylor, whoever, then that has worked for us in recent weeks. So maybe that's what they're going for. Yeah. Actually, Jake Taylor, I thought I was impressed with, especially first half. I thought he always kind of real battles, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But I thought he was good in possession. I thought his passing was slick.
Yeah.
Even but the main thing is that he gets the ball and then he looks forward, and all those balls he was playing from the midfield were forward passes, on the whole, and that's what you need, especially if we're going to play that way, with wide men, and we need to get the ball from the middle up the pitch as quick as possible. And I thought he did that really well.
Yeah, and we're talking about this game like it was a failure,
which it was literally.
Well, literally, it was a failure. But metaphorically, there's some scope for reading that actually, if some of that possession in the first half had, one of Holmes's runs across the edge of the 18-yard line had gone in, we probably could have defended that. I mean, they got really lucky on their goal.
Oh yeah, we definitely could have done. If we'd had a lead, we would have been able to shut them out. I think that's something that Taylor has no problem with. As in Matt Taylor.
Yeah.
No problem sorting that out.
No.
Obviously our defence is great, and that was a kind of comedy of errors leading up to their goal, wasn't it?
It was just unfortunate really. The guy got lucky, Maynard got lucky, and it bounced off Moxie and him again, I think, and just kind of rolled past him. No one's fault, just one of those things.
Yeah.
So in a sense, if we had got one of those midfield goals, we would have thought, well, we're playing to our strengths and this is working, and we'd hold on to possession really well. Yeah. And I think probably we could have held off, but there we are.
Although I think if you're thinking about automatic promotions, that isn't enough. It's not enough to be relying on if we could have got a goal from midfield, we've got imagine the difference if we still had. I know this is pointless to say, but imagine if we still had Jayden Stockley.
Yeah. I'm
not sure. I mean, who knows? But
we'd be flying, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Well, shout out to missing Beach Boy or recently recovered Beach Boy, Donovan Wilson, because he came on and he wasn't what I was expecting at all.
No, and I thought he looked bright, didn't he?
He did, and a bit of a bruiser.
Yeah, strong, had a couple shots.
Yeah.
That's what he's there for.
And obviously Berry was sitting well behind the ball by that point.
Yeah, and he only got 10 minutes, didn't he? Wouldn't it be nice to see him have a little bit longer next time?
It certainly would. I've got nothing.
Don't worry, I've checked, that's the end of the Beach Boys puns. And if you've got any more, listeners, please feel free to get in touch with us.
Of course, you can get in touch with us on Twitter @BigBankPod, or you can email us bigbankpod@gmail.com.
There's a starman running down the wing. His name is Kane Wilson and he makes the Big Bank sing.
So that was the point in which we bury our wounded heart, or rather our love for automatic promotion is over, and we move swiftly on in the run of death, trademark to Dan, my friend and colleague.
Yeah, don't even think about trying to use that on other Exeter City podcasts. All of you out there.
Well, I think we're being surprised by who's listening, because we've got theories, and we'll talk about them later on.
Absolutely.
But we move on in the run of death towards Crewe Alexandra, who... Dan, have you ever been to Crewe?
No, although I've spent a lot of time in the Liverpool area.
Well, that's where you're going wrong, because Crewe's not that near Liverpool.
Isn't it? I thought it was like right up by it.
No, it's near Stoke.
I've never been there either. Oh, I have been to Stoke. Yeah, I have been to Stoke.
Well, anyway, Crewe's a bit north of Stoke,
Right.
around that kind of region.
I don't know anything about the place Crewe. Is it a town?
I guess it's a town. Officially, it's known as an Alexandra. Which,
What's that about?
I don't know.
We don't know,
actually.
do we? It's
We
one
don't
of those
know.
old football kind of like things like, oh, what are they called that? I don't know. Sheffield Wednesday.
Alexander the Great started Crewe Alexandra and named him after his wife, also called Alexandra.
I mean, it's plausible.
It's plausible. We're fortunate because we were nearly called Exeter Athena after our founder, that person Athena, who used to walk out onto the halfway line.
The
in
old
high
mascot,
heels.
yeah.
The old mascot, who many felt bereft when she moved on to pastures new.
Yeah, I wonder what she's doing now. And does she want to come back? Just
you-
for one-off game, because obviously Grecian the Lion does a fantastic job. There's nothing I like better than seeing him, wipe his ass on the opposition goalkeeper's towel. However many times I see it happen, it always makes me, at least smile, if not laugh.
Well, I don't know if Athena made you smile or not, but
She's not doing that. I'll tell you.
It's for the best. I mean, I was always a bit uncomfortable with what the aim of Athena was, but there we are.
It's a bit out of keeping with what we associate modern football with, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
And it wasn't far enough ago in the past to be like, oh, the past. It was not that long ago. Anyway,
Yeah.
Athena, founder of our football club, if you ever want to let us know what she's up to, we'd be pleased to hear about it. Anyway, Crewe Alexandra.
Crewe, yeah.
So they're
Okay.
unbeaten. They're not just unbeaten, they've won their last 5 at home.
Yeah.
That's a tall order, isn't
Well,
it?
it's not called the run of death for nothing.
It's not. It's not. We sculpted that.
Yeah, it's going to be
name out.
difficult. It's going to be difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, it is going to be difficult. And they're a bit leaky at the back, but they're scoring plenty.
Yeah.
Though you look at their league position and you think, oh, they're 11th or 12th, whatever they are. Actually, as we know, it's really close between 4th and mid-table.
Yeah.
So, it's not a given by any stretch. In fact, if we come out of it with anything at all, I think we'll have done well to take on a team that's won their last 5 at home.
Yeah. Well, I'm not, again, it's more that I'm, judged on the last few games, we had Carlisle away and we had Bury at home, both teams in really good form. Arguably the form teams at the time we played both of them.
Yeah.
And we didn't look, it's not, we conceded 2 goals against those 2 teams. One a free kick.
Yeah.
And the other one, this sort of fluke goal,
Yeah.
I'm going to call it,
Yeah.
on Saturday. So it's not like I'm not worried about getting roundly beaten.
No.
The only thing I'm worried about is the fact that I'm not convinced we can score.
No, we'll see. I mean, maybe we'll see Fort back. We've got some hot info on Jonathan Fort. My friend and colleague Dan was out in the style of Marco Bielsa's spying team, and you saw him.
Yeah, but that makes it sound like I'm following him round, which I'm absolutely not
We
doing.
can't confirm whether or not Dan's following him round, listeners, because
Well, we can.
he's got a
confirm
lot of
that.
information.
I just saw him down the bowling.
Mega Bowl,
Yeah, whatever it's called.
GX Superbowl.
GX Superbowl, yeah.
And who was he with?
Luke Kroll.
See, I often see Luke Kroll with a variety of players, and he's obviously kind of like the go-to for
Yeah, he's definitely a legend. Everyone wants to be with him, or everyone wants to hang around with him.
Or he's never playing on a Saturday, so he's good for a Friday night if you're injured.
Yeah, but it didn't look like they were getting on it. By the way, I'm not trying to besmirch their name.
Were they any good at bowling?
I don't know. I didn't see them bowl. They were leaving as I was arriving.
Were they leaving with some sort of large, cuddly toy that they'd won on the pincing machine?
Not that I can't confirm or deny that.
If anyone's got a kind of grabby machine where you can win a kind of cuddly version of Grecian the Lion or something.
Oh yeah,
we'd like to hear about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Those things are impossible to win. I mean,
it's a fix, isn't it? Everyone knows this. It's programmed to only work a certain amount of times. Isn't that how it works?
I think so. Much like League Two, where Exeter City just can't catch a break.
It's a fix.
In this run of death, I don't know.
Shout out to Luke Kroll, by the way. Big fan. Big fan. I love Luke Kroll. I'm kind of disappointed we don't get to see him more, although I understand how he's not getting into that centre-back sort of setup.
Yeah, it's hard for him, isn't it? I mean, we've got a very strong...
I'm a big fan of his.
We've got a very strong set of centre-backs, and he's some way down the order at the minute, I guess. Well, we'll see about Crewe. I mean, if you haven't been, listeners, I didn't go on a kind of spying mission for this, but I have been. And you imagine this, friends. Columpton, which is, of course, a one high street town, imagine that, just with a really long street instead of a fairly short one, and nothing else. It's got a big railway station, and Crewe Alexandra's got one enormous stand. I can only assume they were building for future success, which hasn't yet come. It's really high. And you think, why is there one football stand in the middle of nowhere? And then you get closer and you realise it's surrounded by kind of tin pot, in the style of City just 2 years ago, or Luton. It's really weird. It's enormously high. So you see it on the telly and you think, that's a big ground. And you go there and you think, this is tiny. And then you go to Crewe itself. You think, I might have a look around Crewe before the match. Well, don't bother. There's a Domino's and a yoga centre and a very large train station.
That's it.
Yeah, honestly, it's weird.
God. It sounds terrible. The minute you said, imagine Columpton, alarm bells are ringing.
Well, correct. It really is that and nothing more. My friend Simon lives there, and I was like, which road do you live on? He's like, there's only one road.
Just one road.
There's
Crewe
one
road to Crewe.
It goes from... there's a motorway, and so you come off the motorway, and it really is like Cully.
That's really weird.
And you drive, and that's Crewe. And so his house is like number 750 on this road.
Wow.
So there you go.
Right. I want to get this game over with,
It's
not just
you.
because of how...
Once this is out the way, although there's Lincoln looming, of course.
Well, yeah, and that's our game in hand, right?
Yeah.
And that's...
If you missed it, listeners, that noise was...
Yeah. That's an evening game, innit?
If you're going to Lincoln on an evening, that's very good effort, and shout out to you, and tell us about it on your way. We're getting some good correspondence. We, friends, have noticed, or rather our intrepid listeners have noticed, that Matt Taylor has moved on from his icebox throne.
Well, we've been talking about this a lot, haven't we? Like, what's Matt Taylor sitting on?
Well, he's been sat on this weird icebox, and then, lo and behold, one of our listeners on Twitter, Born Grecian, has noticed that he's moved on. He's still got the icebox there, ready to dispense chalk ices, ice poles, twisters.
Feast.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how we get promotion.
But so he had a chair, didn't he?
Chair next to his
I had
icebox.
noticed this actually from where I was. He had this. It's like a school chair, like a plastic school chair.
I mean, that's mad. We had a teacher at school. The only thing I can ever think of with those plastic school chairs is we had a teacher at school who once completely destroyed one with their backside. Just sat on it.
Oh, wow.
Both legs went. Taylor's got to be worried about that.
No, he's in good shape.
I mean, this teacher seemed to be in good shape, but they
He's
absolutely...
not swinging on it, was he? Because nothing annoys him more than that. You break your neck.
We don't know if Matt Taylor was swinging on it. If you can confirm or deny this. I mean, we've noticed that, A, he's moved off his icebox, and B, last week, you might have noticed that we pointed out he'd renamed the defence from defence or defenders to the back boys.
Yeah.
Dan, you noticed something else?
Yeah, well, then I referred to our forwards, let's say, as the front boys, which was later referenced by Matt Taylor himself in his pre-match interview, I think. So,
So is he a listener?
Is he a listener?
Oh, we'd like to get an email from him. I mean, I'm assuming his email address is
Matt Taylor at exetercity.com.
no. It's like, isn't it Matt Taylor Manager at yahoo.com?
Yeah, maybe. So, is he listening? Here's the answer. No, he's not. Definitely not.
He might be.
But anyway, at least I think it's more likely that we're just, he's just like, we're having the same kind of thought process.
Oh, we're in the same atmosphere.
We're locked into a kind of, a wavelength.
I like
think.
symbiosis.
Yeah.
That's from Matt Taylor.
He's thinking like, I don't know, I've got to get rid of this icebox. I've got to move on. And the next step, I think he wants to do it in steps. You can't just go straight to the
Throne.
big ornate throne. And also, you probably should win some sort of like silverware before you start. Yeah. Anyway,
I mean,
I liked it. I like the little chair. There's one thing. There's only one thing which is out of bounds to him, obviously, and that's leaning against the side.
In the style of a certain former manager.
Yeah, he can't do that. But anything else is,
Do you
an
think?
option.
Are you suggesting that Tisdale's 12-year reign, TM, has ruined some things about that you just can no longer do?
Oh, definitely.
So do you think? I'd be interested to know.
Well, not can't, but
Well, I'd be interested to know, listeners, if anyone knows, if anyone runs any sort of hat shop in Exeter, has sales of ear-flapped, fluffy, headwear gone down since Paul Taylor's left town?
Paul Tisdale.
Well, I mean, I don't just mean like him buying them. I mean like a kid's not wearing them anymore. And do you know what? Actually, my son's no longer wearing his ear-flapped hat. Has he noticed?
Is that why? Yeah.
Well, is it now taboo?
Could be. Yeah.
And is that why we can no longer talk about the winter sun?
That's off limits now.
So Taylor can't lean against the side of the subs bench?
I think he's sort of wise to just steer clear of hats altogether.
Is that why we no longer have kind of last-minute comebacks? Because that reminds everyone too much of Tisdale, and we just don't want to be in those areas.
Oh, well, I hope that's not the case.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Has he ruined it? Has Paul Tisdale ruined all the good things about our club by taking them away with him? And I'm not talking about the players. You can have Jordan Morn-Taylor. You can have Ryan Harley. You can certainly have Robbie Simpson. Sorry, Rob. But have you taken our trademarked comeback specials? Have you taken our lackadaisical attitude to sitting on the subs bench? Have you taken headwear for good? Has it gone?
Give me a CCEIAIIIIIIITTEYYYIII. What have you got, City?
I'm interested in what's happening with Jake Taylor.
Okay.
Well, I'm sensing, and maybe this is just online, but I'm sensing some antagonism towards him. Some kind of, well, definitely he should be dropped, but we can't drop him because he's our captain. It's Matt Taylor's first mistake. And I want to think about two things to do with that. Thing number one, I really like him. And actually, yeah, you can kind of bring anyone else in as a captain, but he's been there a really long time, or certainly long enough to understand the club. B, he's really committed. Like, at League Two, there's always going to be times when your football's not quite what you want it to be, but he's always throwing his head in. He got kicked in the head Saturday for, just trying to make something happen. And I just think, actually, yeah, I know really you can't take captain off. That's a bit of a weird thing to have to do. So we're kind of inhibited a bit by that. But
although,
actually,
let's be honest, it does happen all the time.
Well, yeah, it could happen.
How often are you watching Premier League football and someone gives the armband to the person coming on? It does happen all the time. But I'm not suggesting that we take Jake Taylor off. But and that's the sort of thing those are things you do want from the captain. Like you do want like enthusiasm. You do want him to be there to like trying really hard, and you can't fault him, I think, on kind of like captain qualities.
No, and this is a thing that people never think about, or often don't think about. And I've been watching I don't know if you've been watching it, the Sunderland Till I Die on Netflix.
Yeah, I've seen some of it, yeah.
And I think clubs really need players who are just willing to go the extra mile. And I don't mean on the pitch, although that's really important, but I also mean they just have to turn out sometimes. Exeter City relies upon people feeling like they're part of the thing.
Yeah, and that's something worth mentioning because we got a fire alarm going off here.
That's the Matt Taylor's at the door listening alarm.
Yeah, there he is. As we've seen from like some of the new signings coming in and Jaden Stockley leaving, it really does seem like maybe this is a bit different. The atmosphere at the club within the players, it is a bit different, and like to other places where they are a real tight-knit group.
Yeah.
And the players will actually genuinely get on, and it's a real nice atmosphere. And I think probably like that's why it's good to keep something like consistency like that, and to have obviously Jake Taylor's the club captain, and to have him in there, I think it's obviously going to be good for that, as well, and like good for all the players. I don't know. Also, I think like I don't really have too many complaints with how he's playing either. It's not just like, whoa, he's playing terrible, but let's keep him for these reasons. I genuinely think even and recently. He's been a lot better, and he's well worth having in there.
Yeah,
he can buy you a free kick like no one's business.
Yeah, and we've got, people are saying, well, you can't take him off because he's the captain, and that's why it's a mistake for Taylor to make him the captain. I've heard that be said.
Right,
but we're hardly full of midfield options at the minute.
No,
I mean Archie Collins is doing brilliantly, but let's not forget he's come straight out of the youth setup, and he was last season under Tisdale played a couple of halves.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he's got. I mean, experience is something he's got. I mean, it's not an argument for me.
No,
not with the current squad anyway. I mean, if we had someone else in there, and you were like, we can't get this guy in the team, but we don't have anyone else anyway. There's not someone waiting around to like take his place.
No,
so,
absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm a big fan, and like I was saying earlier on, he gets the ball, he looks to play it forward, and also, he's stuck right in. That's exactly the sort of player we do need in there.
Here's what will be interesting. We've heard from Taylor. We haven't heard. It's not like we've got the hotline, but everyone's heard that within the next few weeks, Boateng's back to full training, and Troy Brown back to full training. Now, those are two big questions.
I mean, it's one big question for me.
Okay.
And that's Troy Brown. Is he going to get back in that defence? Because I can't see it. How can you possibly drop Moxie or O'Shea?
Interesting, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. We've never played Brown anywhere else. Can he play on the wings?
I have no idea. I wouldn't have thought so.
Doesn't look like the kind of guy who would.
No.
So that's going to be an interesting question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like we said...
But again, it's nice to have competition for those, like those guys, the back boys.
We're so well equipped at the back in a way that...
Someone referred to them, shout out, I can't remember your name, as the Irish backstop, by the way.
Yes, good shout.
Good.
On Twitter. That was Egg on Xweb, I think. Yeah.
If Moxie's got any sort of Irish heritage, then I'm backing that even more.
The Irish backstop, that's excellent. And
maybe we're just referring to Dara O'Shea as the Irish backstop.
I think that works as well.
Okay.
Well, we'll see, won't we? And Boateng coming back, I don't think that's bad news for anyone. He can certainly do something good.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens with the midfield when he comes in.
The thing is, and obviously it's great news that Hiram's nearly back. If you've got one criticism of Boateng, what is it?
I don't know, what is it?
Well, mine would be, he doesn't score. He doesn't score any goals.
He doesn't shoot, does he?
He doesn't score.
No, he doesn't.
Obviously, there's the goal against Lincoln in the playoff semis last year.
Yeah.
And he did score a few others, but he's not like a goal scorer.
No.
He's someone who's combining really well with the other players, and it's resulting in goals.
Yeah.
He's not scoring that many goals. But I'm not saying I don't want him back. I'm just saying maybe it's like not...
So he's not the golden egg?
It's not the big problem we've got.
No.
Because Lee Martin, obviously, I guess he'll be sort of... That must be competition for him. It's sort of...
Well, competition
in that
Collins,
number 10 role or whatever. If that's where you'd have Boateng, I don't know. That's one option, isn't it? But I don't know. Doesn't score, does he?
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm desperate to get him back in there because we're definitely a better team with him there.
I'd like to see Wilson get a run.
Which one?
Very good correction. I'd like to see Donovan Wilson get a run. I think Kane Wilson's brilliant. I think he's really good that we can bring him on with half an hour to go on the wing or as a fullback.
Yep,
I think
absolutely,
that's great.
yeah.
And his pace is good. That will really trouble people with half an hour to go. And it kind of did on Saturday, and against a less solid team would have done, I think.
Yeah.
So to see him. But Donovan Wilson, he just looked like someone a bit different, actually.
Yeah.
Kind of get the ball and run with it.
I'd like to see him in there with with Bowman or with another person or with Fort or at the start of the season, Matt Taylor mentioned being kind of brave enough to leave 2 forwards on.
Yeah.
You know, and I think obviously it's frustrating with the amount of injuries, and that's what's keeping him from doing that a lot of times. But I think on Saturday, for example, we didn't do that.
No.
We didn't have 2 up top, and we created next to nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not that bad, but we didn't create anywhere near enough to be getting a goal, let alone goals, plural.
No, that's
so
true.
maybe that's an option. I don't know. I mean, it's difficult to say without seeing more of these players. We've hardly seen any of Bowman. We've seen literally 10 minutes of Donovan Wilson.
And it's a shame that Fort was out Saturday because he's suddenly been
It was
making
the worst.
sense.
It was the worst time, wasn't it, to
Yeah.
lose him? Just as he's kind of getting a bit of a run together, and
Yeah.
you think the goals come in, and then he's got himself
Maybe
an injury, or
another
whatever.
week. I mean, we don't know how bad it is. They're not really talking about it like it's a serious one, so
Nah,
we'll see.
yeah.
So hopefully 2 weeks off and he'll be back.
Lee Holmes on fire. Your defense is terrified. Lee Holmes on fire. Your defense is terrified. Come on City, come on City, come on City, come on City.
So in other news, Exeter City ladies lost 3-1 to Buckland Athletic in their semi-final of the Devon Cup.
Yeah, shame.
It was a real shame. What was brilliant to see was over 600 people at St James Park sat in the old cowshed to see that match. Really positive thing, I think.
That's a good amount, isn't it? For a Sunday afternoon and
Yeah, I don't know, and with a men's home game the day before.
Yeah.
I think it's really positive. I don't know I couldn't put a number on what the under-23s get, but it was somewhere similar, I think, in terms of attendance.
Okay, cool.
So I hope that would encourage the club to keep doing the women's games at St James Park.
Well, you'd think so, yeah.
There were loads of people there saying, well, I brought my daughter, it's really good for her to see women playing in the same place as the men. I mean, I really remember with my daughter, and she watched the World Cup with me last summer and said, oh, don't women ever play football? And you kind of need to keep getting the message across that, yeah, it's not on the telly, but of course they play, and of course it's just as legitimate a thing. So 600, I hope the club can see that and think, hey, that's great. And it was really cheap to go. So I'd encourage anyone else to go as well. What's weird is they're now in a promotion battle against Callington ladies, who my cousin plays for. So
Really?
Yeah.
Where's Callington?
It's East Cornwall, so it's like the Southwestern League.
Wow.
And shout out to my cousin Sam, who managed to score 2 goals yesterday, both direct from corners, 2.
Wow.
Which is kind of unheard of, isn't it?
I once scored from a corner in my younger days. It's the only goal I ever scored for that particular team. And
Straight from a corner.
straight from a corner, and I wasn't trying it.
Well, maybe the men's team could get involved with this because
What you're doing there is you just got to get it into those dangerous areas. And
Yeah.
then, every night a bit windy, maybe it goes in. And let's not forget, of course, that Lee Holmes scored direct from a corner against Liverpool
Did indeed, of course.
at St James's Park.
So-
what a moment that was.
I'd like to see that a bit more, to go back to the men's football for a second, because our corners at the minute are a bit weird.
Yeah.
It's all kind of triangles down in the corner. And
Yeah. We seem pretty reluctant to just
wang it in.
to stuff it in the mixer.
Well, anyway, it was good to see the ladies play in front of a significant number of people.
How are their corners?
Do you know what? They were fine.
Whipping them in?
They whipped them in better than the men are doing at the minute. So
Okay.
yeah, we'll see. But excellent from the club to see that as an opportunity to get more people involved. And I hope that maybe we can see that over the course of the rest of this season and next season it becomes a kind of permanent fixture.
Cool, yeah. Let's hope so.
Friends, it was good to talk to you again. Thanks for listening to episode 3. We'll be back next week for episode 4. If you want to get in touch with us, you can do via Twitter at Big Bank Pod, on email bigbankpod@gmail.com, or in all the usual places. You can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, the podcast app, basically anywhere where you can listen to things.
YouTube.
Oh yeah, YouTube and Facebook as well. Anywhere where you can listen to things, you can find us.
Yep.
If you think there's anything we're not doing or you'd like us to do more of, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks, and shout out to our listeners so far. We're amazed to tell you that we're getting over 200 listeners a week.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks very much.
Thanks for listening. Thanks to the people in Australia. If you're further afield than Australia, I guess there is nowhere further afield than Australia.
About as far as you can go, isn't it?
But we'd love to hear from you or all the different places.
Yeah.
that
Also,
you're
if you are going to the Crewe game and you have something to say about that, I want to know about the ground. I want to know about this massive stand. I want to know about this one long road they've got there. What are the service stations like? Anything. Get in touch.
We really want to
about
hear.
it.
I mean, also,
Don't worry if you'd think this isn't relevant at all to football. We still want to know, don't we?
the more banal, the better.
Yep, bring it on.
Let's be honest. We've signed up to a life of servitude and banality by supporting Exeter City FC. So let's just
Yep.
extend that.
Bring it on.
We'll speak to you soon. Take it easy.
Cheers.